Welcome back to Video Game News. As always, this is Goku-san DBZ, and we are basically at the end of March now. Or, end of February. So with that said, here's some game news. First up, big announcements over the past week from Capcom, specifically this past Monday. We got a first teaser trailer for a new upcoming announced Street Fighter 6. And it's obvious from the looks and design of Ryu, as was a certain newer character, which is obviously going to be one of the key main characters in the new upcoming game. So we'll see. Obviously, they're going with a much more realistic tone this time, specifically looking at the detail of like showing veins and things like that in the sweat. Plus, I am just happy to see the best version of Ryu return with the trailer. The fact he has a beard again after one of those skins in Street Fighter 5 and stuff. I think that is the best design, and given it's been years and stuff, it makes sense for him. But it's obvious also from the style and stuff, it's obvious that Street Fighter 6 is going to be using the Resident Evil, or RE engine, as they call it. Which makes sense because up to now, Street Fighter has been using the Unreal engine, which of course was developed by Epic. Now, fun fact, if you use the Unreal engine, you actually have to pay royalties to Epic for using the Unreal engine. So, it makes sense why Capcom has decided, since they built a pretty good, solid graphics engine, in my opinion, it makes sense why Capcom would start using the Resident Evil engine on all their major titles and stuff. That way they don't have to pay royalties to Epic, and they get 100% profit for themselves. It's very smart from a business standpoint, and I get where Capcom's coming from. Plus, Capcom has been doing very well in recent time. With that said, also we got a trailer announcement for a new fighting game compilation collection, which has been announced to come out in June, which I'm definitely really stoked for. The announcement, they showed that there's going to be 10 games, and luckily I did remember to write down all of it. First up of the announced games, in the collection, first up is the original classic Darkstalkers, or just Vampire in Japan. Was awesome. Then the fact that they showed Night Warriors, aka Vampire Hunter, is going to also come in the collection. That's awesome. Also, then they showed a Vampire Savior, aka Darkstalkers 3, in the collection, so you have all three original. And then they're also including as additional games, I don't know why, but the improved versions of Vampire Hunter and Vampire Savior, and those Vampire Hunter 2 and Vampire Savior 2. Now, Vampire Savior 2 is technically Vampire Savior on the Sega Saturn, because they included all the additional characters. Like, it brought back characters like Donovan, plus added like characters like Pyron and others. So you're getting complete all of the basically Darkstalker games in the collection, which is awesome, and I think they're doing this to test the waters, to see if people want. They already tried it once before with Darkstalker Resurrection, or AK Vampire Resurrection, which I did pick up physical order from Japan, or you could get digitally, and I recommend if you're interested. And also they announced that all the games in this collection will have actual like online. So that's really big news in my opinion. That all 10 games will have online, and even bigger, the announcement, the fact that all the games will also be using rollback netcode. Which means you're going to have really good overall gameplay wise, good matches online. So that's a big deal to me. It's nice to see Capcom is finally going over to the rollback netcode, just like Arc System Works already adopted, and just like SNK adopted. So, that's pretty big, and as a lifelong Darkstalkers fan, this is huge for me, personally. Also, it's going to include the very first time ever released here in the West, and the first time this has ever been released not on a computer. This is alone makes it for me worth buying the game. In fact, I'll probably buy all three ports. Um, but that is the game called Red Earth. For the very first time ever from Capcom, is finally getting released here in the West and not on also a PC. So you can finally play this game on console, on PC if you want as well. But this is huge for me. I cannot wait to get my hands on finally for the first time ever play Red Earth. And I can tell you, I will be doing a recorded playthrough of that game once I get it. Also included in the collection is Cyberbots, which of course you can already buy technically digitally on the PS3 and also on the Vita PSN stores. Also, it's also already another Capcom compilation collection, the Capcom Arcade Stadium collection. But Cyberbots is awesome, and it's nice getting to see it coming out again. And a big fighting game collection. That's nice, more people can be introduced to Cyberbots. Also included is arguably one of the greatest things, and that is, of course, they include a version of Street Fighter 2, which you knew they would. It is Capcom's bread and butter franchise. But they chose to go with Hyper Street Fighter 2 as the Street Fighter 2 game, and yeah, this will be the first Street Fighter game with rollback netcode. So this is big, in my opinion. I'm really looking forward to getting to play Hyper Street Fighter 2 online. Also, the last two we got announced coming. First up, we also have a Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo is being released, and yes, Super Puzzle Fighter is going to have online. That is awesome, because Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo is one of my personal favorite PS1 games, period. One of my favorite Capcom games. So awesome, the fact you get a combination of fighting game mixed with also a dash of Tetris. And with online play, this is really going to be good. And the last they announced, which I'm happy to see this game coming back again, and that is Super Gym Fighter Mini Mix, as it's called. Great game, a lot of love and attention to detail with all the references and stuff in that game. It is interesting in the fact it's going to have online. It's going to help introduce, I think, a whole new generation of fans and stuff to a lot of these classic Capcom games. I am happy to say that I have the majority of these physically, with the exception of Gym Fighter. So it is going to be nice, and the fact you can play all these games online. I am definitely going to be playing probably a lot of Vampire Savior online. I'm really looking forward to it. But on to the rest of the news, but I'm stoked for this announcement from Capcom. I'm more stoked for this Capcom Fighting Collection thing than I am for Street Fighter 6 in all honesty. Also, PS Plus has been announced. 4 games in total. First of which is going to be exclusively for the PS5, and that is a indie cyberpunk game, which I love the looks of artistically, but it sucks that I won't be able to actually play it. And it's called Ghost Runner, which is a indie game I've really been a big supporter and backer of. I always tell people, go out, support indie games. If you have a PS5, pick up this game. It is beautiful looking. And if you like cyberpunk setting, it's another good reason. Also, we have a game coming called Ghost of Soshima Legends. It is unfortunately not the regular Ghost of Soshima game. Legends is an online-like multiplayer game with the name of. So it kind of sucks. At first, when I heard the announcement, Ghost of Tsushima would be part of the collection, but then it had attached Legends, and I did not know of that, so I looked into it, and yeah, it's an online thing, basically garbage in my opinion. Sadly, Sony cheaping out instead of giving us actual Ghost of Tsushima game, which sucks. They didn't. Also, the other 2 games are Team Sonic Racing, which I'll be honest, I probably will definitely be taking advantage and adding this to my library just as a long-time Sonic fan, admittedly my bias. Plus, I've not played the Team Sonic Racing game, so this is an opportunity. And the last one is another one I'm actually kind of curious about called Ark Survival Evolved. Been around for a while, but finally, I haven't been really tempted to buy the game, so now that I get the chance to get it for free, basically, well, I'm fine with that. So those are definitely going to be the two I will probably be adding to my library. Also, live-action Beyblade film is apparently in the works. Yes, you heard me right, a Beyblade live-action film is in the works. And it's being, apparently being co-done between Paramount Pictures and Jerry Bruckheimer. That's very interesting, to say the least. So, I'm admittedly curious. At least Netflix isn't involved. Cross fingers and a hope. Knock on wood. Also, big updates are coming for the online MMO Genshin Impact. Has a huge update coming. Also, Microsoft is discussing a Fallout New Vegas sequel. Well, which makes sense now that they control Bethesda and they control also the other company that was involved with it, which of course also has developed Outer Worlds as well. So that's kind of curious to see a sequel of Fallout New Vegas, which is arguably, in many people's opinions, the best of the Fallout series. Okay, last but not least, mention it was recently unveiled as of right now in actual sales overall, the top 20 best-selling games of all time, or rather Capcom games of all time, worldwide sales. First up, coming at number 20 of best-selling games ever for Capcom is Monster Hunter Freedom Unit, which was a PSP game. It sold 3.8 million copies. 19 was Street Fighter II Turbo for the Super Nintendo. It sold around 4 million copies. 18 is Monster Hunter 4, which sold 4.1 million copies. 17, Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, which sold 4.2 million. 16, Monster Hunter Generations, 4.3 million. At 15, Monster Hunter Generation Ultimate, 4.4 million. At 14, Devil May Cry 5, 4.8 million copies. Not too surprised. Next at 13, Monster Hunter Freedom 3, 4.7 million. At 12, Resident Evil 3 Remake. Yes, believe it or not, it still is one of their best-selling games, sold 4.9 million copies. Coming in at number 11, Resident Evil 2. And we're talking the original Resident Evil 2 on PS1, which sold, PS1 mixed with other platforms, it sold 5 million copies. So good job. At number 10 is actually the most recent game, believe it or not. At 10 is Resident Evil Village, which has sold already 5.7 million copies in less than a year. Not bad. At 9, Street Fighter V. Yes, believe it or not, Street Fighter V is in their top 10 best-selling games of all time. Street Fighter V has sold an estimated 6.1 million copies. So, pretty impressive. Then we have, at number 8, Street Fighter II, the original version for like Super Nintendo and stuff, which has sold an estimated 6.3 million copies. Coming in at number 7, another game that's been out a little less than a year. Exclusive to the Switch, well, and now added to PC, Monster Hunter Rise has sold an estimated 7.7 million copies. Then we go to 6 for Resident Evil 6, garbage game. I still can't believe it sold 8.1 million copies. Tied with it basically at number 5 is Resident Evil 5, which sold an estimated also 8.1 million copies. Next we have Monster Hunter Iceborn, And keep in mind, this is just like an added, though it did get physical release. Monster Hunter Iceborn came in at number 4 with 8.8 million copies sold. Coming in at number 3 is Resident Evil 2 Remake. It sold an estimated 9.3 million copies. Resident Evil 7 comes in second place with an estimated 10.6 million copies. And then coming in, arguably their most successful game of all time for Capcom is Monster Hunter World, which has sold an estimated 17.8 million copies. So that's quite a leap in sales numbers. So yeah, if you look at that list, like 9 of the top 20 slots are held by Monster Hunter games, which should say something. Last but not least, 2 recently released games, multi-platform. First up, Martha is Dead, which is getting a physical release through Limited Run Games. Unfortunately, only the PlayStation 4 and 5 version is getting physical, which is not good because Sony has censored the game. So if you want to play the game uncensored, you're going to have to go with Xbox One, and unfortunately it's not getting physical release, which sucks. But PS5 version has a 67% on Metacritic among critics. No user yet. PS4, no info of any kind. Then we have the PC version with a 77% on Metacritic. No user on any of them. Xbox One, nothing info-wise yet. The Series X has a 68% critic score. And last is Elden Ring. First up, no info for the PS4 or Xbox One versions. Xbox Series X has a 95% critic, no user yet. PC has a 95% critic, and the PS5 version has a 97% critic score, which is insane numbers. So congratulations from Software. And quickly, before I turn off, recent pickup on some recently picked up books. First up is a special new hardback copy of another art book collection from, of course, Capcom, which I'm looking for in the future, showing this in a future video. And the other one is Volume 2 or Volume 1 for the Street Fighter 5 comic collection, which is awesome, and I love this overall. It's really nice. Now, if you're curious and getting something like this for yourself, you will be showing out about $50 for one of these. Keep in mind, it's a really nice hardback, and you get a lot in this. Like, the artwork is superb. But with that said, that's it for this installment of Video Game News, and I'll see y'all next time. Same YouTube time, same YouTube channel. Stay safe out there. And our prayers are with everyone in the Ukraine right now. I'll see y'all next time.